I find a lot of retirement advice kind of useless. Just save money. Okay, save for what? When do you get to use it? How much? Why wait until you are 95 years old to buy a new pair of pants? Here is a different approach. Map out exactly where you stand and the steps to reach true financial freedom. Once you get specific about where you are going, you can work backward and make it happen. Level 1 is the hardest place to be. Income does not cover basic living expenses, and high interest debt is often lurking. There is no magical credit card or secret math trick. The only path out is to earn more. Build skills, take on more responsibility at work, add a second job, launch a side gig, or ask for a raise. It is challenging, but moving from level 1 to level 2 is the most important leap you can make. Level 2 means the bills get paid, but there is little left at the end of the month. Debt may still be hanging around, and one surprise, like a job loss or a car repair, can knock everything off track. The priority here is to start an emergency fund and accelerate debt payoff. Automate a transfer to savings. Even $50 to $200 a month quietly grows when it moves out before you see it. If that sounds impossible, start with 50. Set a rule for windfalls too. For example, send 80% of a tax refund straight to savings, then look at spending with clear eyes. Most people underestimate how often they eat out by a factor of 3. Small changes like stretching a haircut from every 4 weeks to every 6 add up over a year. Automate debt payments to avoid late fees and build your credit. Then call your credit card company and ask for a lower APR. Be polite but persistent. Ask to reduce your rate because you are paying aggressively and other cards are offering better terms. Sometimes it works, and a 5-minute call can save thousands over time. If it does not, try again in 6 months. The key is to have a clear payoff plan and stick to it. At level 3, there is finally money left over after covering the basics. This is where systems turn momentum into wealth and where guilt-free spending becomes real. Break your money into 4 categories. First, fixed costs like rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, debt, and car payments. Aim for 50 to 60% of take-home pay. Second, investments at 5 to 10%, ideally more. If there is a 401k at work, contribute enough to get the employer match. If that is covered, consider a Roth IRA or simply raise the percentage. This is where long-term wealth is created. Third, savings at 5 to 10% or more for an emergency fund, a down payment, a car, or even a big vacation 2 years from now. Finally, guilt-free spending at 20 to 35% on the things you love, whether that is travel, cosmetics, art, or bowling nights. This last category matters. Many people focus so hard on frugality that they forget a rich life includes today. Without practice, some reach 7-figure net worths and still hesitate to buy blueberries or a direct flight that saves hours. Spend on what you love and cut mercilessly on what you do not. That is how to build the skill of meaningful spending. Level 4 is about sleeping well at night. Avoid being over-leveraged and avoid a life where one bad bet blows up years of progress. Developers have built fortunes over decades only to lose it on a single bad deal. Contrast that with Warren Buffett's mindset. He has said Berkshire was set up to never run out of money. That is the ultimate financial flex, and it comes from managing risk. Accept slightly lower returns if it means a sturdier foundation. Here is what that looks like. Build an emergency fund. The old rule of thumb was 6 months of expenses. Recently, because of economic risk from tariffs, that target moved to 1 year for extra safety. Keep it in a high-yield savings account. Do not chase yield with your emergency fund. Its purpose is instant access. When life goes sideways, you want cash now, not in 3 days after selling investments. Use it if you are laid off or if you need to pay for a last-minute flight to help family. Plan before you need to. If a year sounds out of reach, start with 1 month, then 3, then 6, and automate the transfers. At level 5, the system hums. Savings and investments grow. Guilt-free spending is intentional. Now think longer term and get hyper-specific about retirement. Do not just say travel. Decide which seat you want on the plane or whether you prefer road trips. How many trips each year? How long will each be? Are you backpacking or staying in nice hotels? Where will you live? What hobbies and relationships do you want? Your life leaves clues. If cooking has never been part of your life, it is unlikely to suddenly become central in retirement. Once you are specific, do the math with the 4% rule as a back of the napkin guide. If annual expenses in retirement are $80,000, the target portfolio is about $2 million. If you want $160,000 per year, aim for $4 million. Some people plan to work part-time, which lowers the target. Then check if you're on track. A 7% long-term return assumption already accounts for inflation. If you are behind, increase investing from 10% to 12 or 15, or focus on earning more. At least now there is a clear destination and a path to get there. Level 6 is about money dials, the areas you love to spend on. Common dials are food, health and wellness, travel, and convenience. Here is the twist. Most people never turn the dial up. They keep the same restaurants and vacations from their early 20s, even as their income grows. Turning the dial up does not mean waste. It means designing magical experiences. If travel is your dial, consider a cooking class with a local chef who takes you through a farmer's market, then cooks with you at home. If health is your dial, consider targeted help that upgrades your life. In one example, hiring a posture coach for 6 weeks transformed posture, reduced back pain, and improved sleep. Ask yourself this: if $25,000 had to be spent today on what you love, where would it go? Your answer reveals your money dial. Level 7 is meaning. Use money to create a legacy through giving. During a fundraiser for families separated at the border, some people demanded every line item before donating $50. The bigger lesson was this: a philanthropist is not just an old tycoon in a top hat. If you give $50 to a cause you care about, like a community garden or a school fundraiser, you are a philanthropist. You do not need to wait for some distant future to start creating impact. You can do it today. Now the spotlight turns to you. Which level are you at right now, and what single action will you take to reach the next one? The map is clear. The next step is yours.